John. Well, bottom line, I want more John. So we want to touch on, we just alluded to, we want to touch on the fiscal cliff. Since we got a little bit more insight. What's cool is our guest is an expert in finances, and he can help us. Nobody quite knows how this is all going to play out. That's why I call it the fiscal whiff, because we're almost there, and everybody's involved in this. Just so you know, you think we're talking national news. This involves you right here. So we have John Vance with Vance Wealth Group. Thank you. Let me clear. I told you I'm a name hacker. John Vance with Vance Wealth Group, and this guy has put together an incredible team and incredible information. I mean, I looked at his site. I looked at his information. This guy is on his game. Steve, I know he impressed the heck out of you. For sure. You made sure. Don, you have to include John in our PRG group. You have to include him on our show, because he is dynamic, he's informed, and he's passionate about helping people just like we are, right?
That's the number one goal. All
right, John. So we're bringing you on the show today to share with us some great information. You wait till you hear some of the stuff. He's got a unique angle on some items that that unfortunately affect a lot of you out there, and we'll go into that. And John, we want to talk to you about this financial whiff. How much fun has this been, huh?
Oh, the fiscal cliff has just been... It's been a headache because that's all you're seeing these days on the media. And, you know, when your clients start asking you about the fiscal cliff, that was a popular term back in August. And by the time you heard it in November, December, you were just done. You didn't want to hear it anymore.
How much do you hear it as a financial planner?
Oh, you can't escape it. It happens daily.
It's probably
by the hour.
First minute of every conversation that comes up once at least, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? And the short answer for the longest time was, I don't know. Right. Now we have a little bit better clarity.
Okay, so we'll touch on that. And just so you know, John Vance lives right here in Santa Cruz amongst all of you, with his beautiful daughters, the reason for being. He rocks and rolls. And let's see, I have their names right here, Lauren and Kate, right?
That's right.
Very cool. Avid in sports, just like the rest of us out there. Yep, he's golf and swimming and running, and he does this other crazy thing that Steve and I don't do and won't do, called triathlons. You're crazy, man.
Just for fun. Yeah. I enjoy it. Cool. Every couple of years, I get a bug and decide to go out and do a few.
Yeah. See, I just started my afterburn run last night, and we're going to do the Don and Steve and Gino watch this year, because we're going to really, as part of our commitment for the new year, any of you thinking about losing weight or being in a better shape this year, or being really focused? So Steve and I and 6 of us actually have signed up for Afterburn Fitness, and our challenge starts on the 14th. So I went to my first class last night, and I'm barely sitting in this chair right now.
Yeah, you call that a challenge. I look to it as a butt kicking.
Yes, it was exactly that. I barely made it home last night.
I get my first one tomorrow morning. So
yes, I can't wait.
I know.
I can't wait to watch that.
Looking forward to my pain, aren't you?
The reason we bring that is because that's the kind of dedication that you want behind you when you have a professional helping you, somebody that's dedicated and focused. And John Vance with Vance Wealth Group, who he's created, he's got an office here in Valencia, an office in Pasadena, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and he knows his stuff, and we wanted your input. So, Steve, the big thing that for you right here in Santa Cruz was a Mortgage Debt Relief Act, right?
Yeah, the extension of the Mortgage Debt Relief Act. We got another year on this, which affects, unfortunately, a large population of our consumers. And what that means is, you know, any person who elects to sell their home in a short sale and is forgiven any principal on their first or second trust deed mortgages in the form of a short sale transaction will not be responsible for any payback of that debt relieved, income tax wise or actually finances. Whereas in the past, before last year, there was the liability on behalf of one or the other mortgage holders if it was a refinanced loan that was being short saled, or they had income tax ramifications because the debt relieved was added to their normal income and then taxed accordingly. Yeah. So when the tax laws were changed last year to forgive all debt that was relieved on a short sale transaction, and loan modification, by the way, but a more difficult situation. But short sales, that gave more incentive to the people that are out there right now that are sitting with an elephant on their head, and they can't live their lives.
Nice visual, Steve.
Well, they're completely paralyzed. Okay,
Yes,
their home's underwater by a couple $100,000. They can't make their bills otherwise. What do?
And they don't think they really have options.
Well, they have a lot of options.
But they think they just got to walk.
Right,
there's actually better options.
Well, for sure. The options are very, very good, actually. I mean, they don't realize that possibly within 3 years, but maybe within 2 years of the close of escrow of a short sale transaction, they could qualify for another mortgage.
That's right. And it happens before then. We're helping people right now get into homes that short sold their home just 2 and 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So it can happen, and you can buy that same house that you unfortunately may need to walk away from in the form of a short sale. We do not ever suggest foreclosure.
Right.
And get right back into the game.
So those folks that are
at low prices and the lowest interest rate.
The people that are considering the morality of this and what they should do, you don't want to walk away. That's not the best option for anybody, you or the bank. A short sale benefits everybody. Benefits the
people
homeowner.
Are getting paid to do these.
Well, for sure. You know,
a lot of banks are paying you to short sell your home so you don't damage the property, and allow them to eliminate this bad debt on their books as well. And it is imperative, Steve, don't you agree, for our inventory? We have an inventory problem here.
Yeah, we do. We certainly do. And I'm guessing there's a lot of people that were on the fence about what to do, not knowing what the fiscal whiff was going to be. And then all of a sudden, now we have some good news. So I want to encourage all the listeners who are in that situation or know anybody that is to give me a call at 661-259-3450. We have a complete team of people, dedicated and caring individuals that will, with all the compassion in the world, take you down the road to your financial future by getting you out from underneath that elephant and seeing daylight.
Well, this is a team, again, that's been around for, they started 50 years ago. They are incredible. Steve Korn, owner of New Hall Escrow. Steve, you guys do a great job, and thank you for that great input, because without that Mortgage Debt Relief Act, we could have lost almost what little inventory we had, because short sale is a big part of that inventory right now.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And we luckily have some professionals we surround ourselves from that can help guide you through this and get you back in the right direction.
For sure.
And speaking of the fiscal whiff, we're gonna get John Vance back here with the Vance Wealth Group, right?
That's right.
Wealth Group. Just making sure I didn't have that.
You're doing great.
And I'd love to get your take on. We had some tax ramifications, and some actually we thought were going to be pushed back for a couple months. And you were mentioning to us at lunch that some of these things have actually gone permanent.
Yeah, so one of the things that happened back in 2001 with the Bush-era tax cuts that were put in place, they had recently been patched because of the slowdown in the economy. And so we were coming up on this fiscal cliff, which is now the fiscal whiff, right? And one of the things that had happened is they put in the tax law a sunset provision, which meant Congress had to come back to the table and vote to keep the lower taxes in place. And without a vote, that the taxes would actually go back to the Clinton-era tax levels. And so they patched it last year. This year we were coming up on the deadline and nobody knew. And so one of the things that I was really proud of our government for taking some action is they made the Bush tax cuts permanent on income earners, single people below $400,000, and for married or head of households of $450,000 and below. And so
that kind of includes most of you out there, includes me out there.
Yeah, so what they did is they made it permanent. And so now we're not going to have to have this conversation in 6 months or a year. They made it permanent.
That's huge, though. Like
it is
said,
huge.
It made permanent, because otherwise we're just kicking the can down the road again.
That's right. And that's one of the things I've been talking to clients about, is I thought it didn't matter as much what happened. We just needed to have more of a permanent solution. I think one of the things that we can get in trouble with is a lot of temporary solutions. Because then as consumers, as homeowners, as purchasers, as investors, we can't make long-term decisions, because if we're playing by a one-year rule and the rules are going to change every year, how do we make a long-term decision? And home ownership is a long-term decision, investing is a long-term decision. And so that's one of the things I was really happy with. Now, they did raise the taxes on the wealthier group, and I guess they now define wealth as above the 400 and the 450,000, to the highest marginal tax rate at 39.6%. And so that was a raise from 35. So there was an increase there. They're going to get more tax revenue, but for the majority of Americans, there's some much needed tax relief, and the great thing about it is permanent. So, we can get back to work. We don't have to worry about what's going to happen. Let's just get back to work and get back to doing business.
Look how comfortable he was explaining that. It was just like, rolled off his tongue. If you just tuned in, we're speaking with John Vance with Vance Wealth Group right here in Valencia and part of the Professional Resource Group, and explaining to you some of the advantages, because without a doubt, for us to have a continued recovery, and I think we're on the right track. We're not there yet, but we needed the momentum to continue, and John eloquently put that we needed something that was more permanent to help us gain confidence, because without confidence, we don't have a prayer in our recovery. Do you agree?
Yeah, I mean, you know, without a plan, without that confidence just, to me, is when you know the rules. When you know what's going to happen.
My wife tells me those.
Then that's right. So then it breeds the confidence saying, okay, we can make decisions as a family. And so there's still some details that haven't been totally ironed out, but I was really happy with what came out. And I think that, you know, going through to get the economy back on track, there's going to be some shared pain at times with increasing taxes. And the one area to know, we've had a payroll tax holiday. I don't know how many of you are familiar with that. The payroll tax holiday basically reduced everyone's payroll taxes by 2%. Well, that's coming back on everybody. So there's going to be a slight tax increase on Americans through their payroll taxes. It'll go back to normal, and that money the payroll tax is collected to go into the Social Security Trust Fund. And so that tax is coming back, being restored to its original level. And so that does have some people up in arms, but I do think it was a good decision to get back on track.
Great information from John Vance of Vance Wealth Group. And also we're going to talk about something that he does that I've never heard of before. He's a divorce financial analyst, and I'm sure, unfortunately, it affects some of you, especially with the pain we've been going through. We're going to touch on that, and how much is $1 billion compared to $1 million? We're going to tell you when we come back to the Don and Gino Real Estate and Finance Show on your hometown station, AM 1220